guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm Adrian, and Kiwi is my Indian ringneck. So today I am coming on here to give you guys a little bit of some life updates, but also to show you a thrift store haul as well as a premiere haul. We're going to start with the hauls first, I think, and then if you guys want to stick around for some life updates, you can. Either way, I greatly appreciate you guys supporting my channel. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it out to some yarny friends. And we're going to go ahead and jump right in, because I probably need to go start cooking dinner here pretty soon. So I'm going to start with the thrift store stuff that I found. I haven't been to the thrift store in a while. And there was not a whole lot there as far as yarn goes. But I did find some things. If I could get this bag to stay up there without falling down. I did find a few things. Some of this may end up in giveaways. Some of it may end up sticking around, and I'll use it to make, hats or amigurumi, whatever. But I like to find the, one skein things and, the one-ofs, and use them for amigurumi a lot of the time. For example, this one, it's just a blue and red plied yarn. It does feel like acrylic. I paid $1 for this. I don't know what brand it is. It's softer than Red Heart Super Saver. If you guys know what this might be, let me know. So with me, I always try to check out the yarn and make sure there's no bugs or anything in it. I've never had, at the particular thrift store that I go to, I've never had any issues with bugs in my yarn. I've never had yarn that smelled funny or anything like that. But I have come across some yarns that were some cotton yarns that were dry rotted, and actually this last trip to the thrift store I actually put some lilies and cream back because I didn't want it. It was dry rotted, and it felt funny to me, and I had asked Mom, I was like, is this dry rot? Is that what I'm feeling? She's like, yes, that's definitely dry rot. So I didn't get that particular ball of yarn, but I got all of the rest that the thrift store had. We got there a little bit later in the morning, so they had already kind of been picked clean a little bit. But yeah, I paid $1 for this one. I thought it was kind of cool. Have no idea what I'm going to use it for. Like I said, some of this may end up going in giveaways. I did pick up a partial skein of Petal Pink Red Heart Super Saver. You never have too much pink, especially in regards to amigurumi. This one I grabbed. I don't see how much did it. This one was 50 cents. I don't know what kind of yarn this is. I guess I could open it up real quick. It's taped closed, I think. There is a label in here, but I thought it was interesting. I didn't pull it out in the store. There's a zip tie here holding it together, but there is a label in here. It looks like it's a stole. Wait, is that what that is? Stole? S-T-O. No, it says stone. Something stone. There's a sticker over the top that says Tuesday morning. So I can't tell if that, I think it says stone. Let's see. It says that it's regularly priced at $12. And then it says So I'm not sure where this came from, but it does say regular price $12. Then it says our price $4.99. So I'm not sure where this yarn came from. It says stained glass on the back. I don't recognize this label, and I can't see the rest of it because of the two stickers there, and it doesn't really say what the brand is. Now it does say it's 100% rayon, 190 yards, 50-gram ball. And it looks like right here it says maybe light blue. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. It does look like it says light blue right there. But then right here it says stained glass. So I don't know. Now it is a single strand. If I go to work with this is going to be so hard to figure out because I think this was originally a hank. Just because of the way that the label is, I feel like this originally was the top of the hank, and this hank has become a tangled mess. Plus, on top of that, there is a zip tie here that they're trying to use to hold it together. I'm thinking this is what would be called a carry-along yarn, just because I'm not sure what I would make out of it, but I don't know. Maybe if I used, I mean, if I had more of it, maybe I could make a shawl, or maybe a very lightweight mesh kind of a shawl. This might be enough. I don't know. It's definitely like a weight 2. I don't know. But I thought it was cool, so I grabbed it. You know, sometimes I find yarns that I've never seen at the thrift store, and I grab them simply because I've never seen them before. So this one, I've had this before. I don't remember the colorway, and of course this one doesn't have a label on it, but I want to say it's a vintage yarn. But I have had a little bit of this before that I used to make baby beanies, and I believe it's a vintage yarn. This one looks like, to me, to be a, well, the color reminds me of some, what do they call that? Lion brand, the skeins that are like 1 pound. I don't know if they're Lion brand 1 pound or whatever. I've got a couple of them, and I think I have one that this color reminds me of a lot. I only paid 25 cents for this. And this one didn't even have a price on it, so to be honest, I'm not sure that they charged me anything for it. If they did, it wasn't much at all. And this other one in the bag was 50 cents. This one was 50 cents. So maybe $3.50, $3.75, including this one so far. I was trying to tear this open to see. I know it's acrylic, but I was interested in finding out. Okay, well, we're not going to be saving this bag. So this one is a little bit rough. It's definitely acrylic, baby. It's kind of along the lines of Red Heart Super Saver, is what it feels like. And it smells like yarn. Like I said, I've never had any problems with yarn smelling at this particular thrift store. I think this was part of a Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. I don't know what color this is, but that's what it reminds me of. The length, the way it's wound up, it definitely reminds me of a Red Heart Super Saver that was used from the outside. But also, if you can see that some of the inside was used, I don't know. But the color reminds me of a pink color that I have that is like Lion Brand 1 pound or something like that. So I did find this ball of Lion Brand Jiffy, which I paid $1 for. This one I think is, I don't know if this is a 4. Yeah, see, this is a 5 weight. It's got some other yarn sticking to it. Again, it smells really nice, actually. The color is called Country Green. This I might use. This will probably go in a giveaway just because I've got some other Lion Brand yarn that I'm probably going to put in a giveaway. It's got some fibers from material stuck to it. I'll probably sit and pick those off. But this was definitely stored with somebody who had like cotton fabric and liked to sew, because I think that's the smell I'm smelling. It smells like a sewing room is what it reminds me of, actually. And I think Jiffy is discontinued. I think it was discontinued a long time ago, but I only ever see it, you know, sometimes I come across Jiffy in the thrift store, and I always grab it. This one is just a ball of scrap yarn that I picked up for 25 cents. I don't really have a particular reason as to why. It just needed a home, and it was 25 cents. Now, I will say my thrift store occasionally does this, where they will put tape over the end of some yarns or whatever, and I understand the idea behind it, but I don't like it because it makes the fibers in the yarn peel, and I don't like it. Don't like it at all. Now it's all, like, it looks like a brushed yarn now on the outside. So, I have 2 left from the thrift store. This one is one that I don't have it doesn't have a label or anything. It's very soft. It reminds me of Caron Simply Soft. It's a nice yellowy color. It might be showing up, I don't know if it's showing up properly on the screen, but it is kind of like a light yellow color. And again, I only paid $1 for this yarn, and it actually looks like it's 2 skeins, or skeins, whichever, in there. All of these Benjamin is going to wind up for me. So this last one is 3 of the same yarn. It's very soft. Only one of the yarns has a label on it, but it's definitely 3 of the same. And these are Gala Yarns fiber, Gala Yarns mixed fiber, and it says acrylic, polyester, and nylon. It says that it says Big Lots $1. I don't have a Big Lots near me, so this is probably somebody that donated or had a, maybe somebody passed and their stash got, donated to the thrift shop. I'm not really sure. I couldn't even tell you where the nearest Big Lots is from where I live, because I live out in the middle of nowhere. This one is definitely a full one based off of weight. This one being a full one. This one feels almost full. This one feels a little bit lighter than this one. So I'm thinking probably 2.5 skeins for $1. And I do have a Gala yarn. It's purple, and I got it at Hobium years ago, and I just have never used it. Now this label says these are 50-gram balls, 1.76 ounces. I don't see a recommended hook size or knitting size, and also it does not give me percentages as to how much acrylic, polyester, and nylon are in there. It just says mixed fiber acrylic, polyester, nylon. So that's what I got for from the thrift store. I'm gonna save this bag. I like to save the plastic bags. You never know when you're gonna need a plastic bag. So that was my thrift store haul. As you can see, I also have this Premier haul here. It's not as big as my last Premier haul, but I did pick up some more yarns that I did not have. In fact, all of these I have never had. The ones that I ordered from Premier, they're all new to me yarns. That doesn't mean that they're new yarns. They're just new to me. That being said, who's emailing me or texting me? It's a much smaller box than the last one as well. Let's see if we can open this thing up. I wish I had more space. I really do. Not just for yarn, but also to film in. It's pretty, y'all. What's it say? It says, "Thank you for choosing Premier Yarns." I did not know that the boxes said that. Why is this the first time I'm noticing that? So, I did get 2 of every color in this box. I didn't get every color of these yarns, but I got at least 2 of each color that I ordered. Would like for you very much to stay there. So, when I placed this order, I had Scream Hollow in mind. I was thinking pumpkins. I was thinking a new bat pattern that I recently found. But we will talk about Scream Hollow in a bit after the yarn haul. So, like I said, this is a new to me yarn. It's Premier Parfait Chunky. I think I had some when Parfait Chunky came out a really long time ago. I had like this huge jumbo ball that I got for $5 at the Dollar General, or no, the Dollar Tree. And then after that, I didn't see it in the Dollar Tree again. This looks a little bit thinner than that particular yarn that I had used. I'm sure most people are familiar with Premier Parfait Chunky. Here is the label. This colorway is called Carrot. It says it's a super bulky 6. I got these because the Stash Goals also is a super bulky 6. But now that I'm looking at them, there's a little bit, these are a little bit thinner. And I have some of the Stash Goals here. Hopefully I can get it out without so here is Parfait Chunky. That's how thick it is. And then here is how thick the Stash Goals is. They're both marked as a super bulky 6, but you can see this is a little bit thinner. Probably they're still going to work well enough together. I don't see why they wouldn't. I'll have to give it a go to find out. But the recommended hook size on the Parfait Chunky is 8mm. It's the same thing on the Stash Goals. I use a size 6mm hook. With the Stash Goals, I'll probably use the same size hook with the Parfait. But yeah, so I got, these are 131 yards, and of course 100% polyester. I got 2 in the Carrot color, and I got these during the sale where like all of the parfaits were, I think, 20% off. And I think that is continuing through the entire month of October. So I did get several different colors. This one is bright pink, and I got this one because the bright pink stash goals was sold out, and Casey was asking about a flamingo because I got some from Premiere that is like tie-dye, and it's a web exclusive, and she wanted me to make a flamingo out of that yarn, but I needed some pink, and yeah, so I actually have a couple of shades of pink in here. But this one is the bright pink Parfait Chunky. This one is, I think this is probably hibiscus. Yeah, this one is Parfait Chunky, the colorway hibiscus. In the camera, it's a little bit brighter than my dress, but actually, it looks like the same color as my dress, but a little bit more saturation. So there's that one. I'm sure when they were packing my order, they were like, why didn't this woman just buy 3 of each color? Because you know those poor workers in the warehouse had to rip open all of my bags and pull out one skein of yarn. They were like, why didn't this woman just buy 3? So this one is actually Parfait Chunky Neons, which I have never heard, or not never heard of, but I've also never had this one. It's not the same. The label is a little bit different, but all the specs are the same. It's a super bulky 6, recommends an 8mm crochet hook, and it is also 131 yards. This color is called, I think, Proton Purple is what this colorway is called. It's not really purple. It looks more like a pink. Yeah, it's Proton Purple. So, is that upside down? It's upside down. That's what the label for the Parfait Chunky Neons looks like. And I know I got the green one as well from the Neons. I think it's this one here. It's called Electric Lime. It's real bright. Like I said, I had Scream Hollow in mind when I was purchasing this order. So I did get a lot of bright colors that would go well with black. Just a lot of variations on greens and oranges. I was thinking pumpkins. And this, yeah. So this one's called Electric Lime. And then I have Orchid, which is another, I think, regular Parfait Chunky. Yeah, so that one's Orchid. This one is Toffee. So this color Toffee actually kind of has a hint of green in it to me. I mean, it looks like that to me, but I don't know. It looks like it's showing up okay on the screen, but as I'm looking at it, it does kind of, I don't know. I don't know what Toffee looks like, but it does almost look like it's got a little hint of green in it. I'm going to have to hold it up to the other brown that I got, because I did get a darker brown. I think it was the colorway Chocolate, and I got those 2 colors to go together for a specific bat project because I wanted to work up a new bat that I found. But we are not to the bottom yet. So this one is a new colorway, or a new color from their line. I think this is Goblin. Yeah, this is their Goblin color, which is a new color, I think, for the Parfait Chunky line. And then I have another neon color here. This one is called Blaze Orange, so very much highlighter orange. Again, another color I was thinking of making pumpkins out of. Now I'm not so sure. This one is called Rock Candy. It is a new color of the Parfait Chunky. It looks brighter on the website than what it does in person. It's still very bright though. So this is the chocolate colorway I was talking about that I got to go with the toffee. I was thinking about using them to make that bat pattern, and I was thinking with the browns, it was really reminding me like Batty from that movie Fern Gully. So I was going to try to make a version of Batty from Fern Gully with these colors. Let's see. That is also a chocolate. And then I got this purple color. See, I have a Stash Goals that was purple, but it's not as dark as this. This is a real dark eggplant color. That's what the colorway is called, is eggplant. You guys know I love purple, so I'll figure out something to do with this. And then the last colorway I have is called Sour Apple, and again, it is a new color to the Parfait Chunky. Or at least it said new when I purchased it. So yeah, that is my Premier yarn haul. In the bottom of the bag, it said, or in the bottom of the box, there is this card, Premier Week, November 5th through November 18th. Up to 60% off your favorite yarns. 3 discounts will be available only at Premier.com. So there's that. And then there is a calendar for November for their sales, if anybody is gonna keep an eye on that or whatever. I don't know how much money I'm going to have for November, because it's a good segue into our next topic of conversation, which is life updates. So, unfortunately, certain things happened, and I am no longer employed at Scream Hollow. So I bought a bunch of this yarn for, with the idea that I was going to make stuff for Scream Hollow. However, certain issues happened, and I ended up quitting in the middle of season, in the middle of a weekend, which I didn't care to do. Actually, it really upset me. And I spent like an entire day crying over it because that job meant the absolute world to me. I really, really enjoyed working there. It gave me an outlet for my crochet, and it gave me a sense of independence. Y'all know I have a seizure condition, and it is very difficult for me to work. I don't know how to drive, but working there gave me a huge sense of independence, and I was very upset about having lost that, as well as losing the income. It was more about my sense of independence and my ability to make my own money outside of crocheting, and also about having somewhere to sell my crochet and for people to enjoy my crochet, because apparently a lot of people really do enjoy my crochet, and really enjoyed it up there, because I today is the 20th that I'm recording this. I actually quit on the 18th. Since then, I have been told that there have been customers at Scream Hollow that have commented about where is my crochet, why is it not in there anymore. But I quit Scream Hollow because there was some things going on, and for my own personal mental health and not just my mental health, but also my physical and neurological health, I couldn't continue to work under those kinds of conditions. My seizures are one of the biggest triggers for my seizures is stress. And the level of drama that was going on had me very, very stressed out. And I just couldn't deal with it. I didn't have any fight left in me. So I just told him, like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I thought that they were going to at least let me continue to have my crochet in the gift shop until the end of the season, because I mean they would have profited off that as well. If I sold anything, they still would have profited and gotten 20% out of the consignment. But because I quit my hourly job there, they went ahead and pulled my stuff out of the gift shop, which does really suck. But at this point, after everything that's happened, I'm just kind of, it is what it is. Now, a friend of mine and I are going to start going to the... Get up there. Get up there. We're going to start going to the farmer's market each week. And what I'm hoping with this farmer's market is that I will be able to, have the same kind of thing. A sense of independence. Maybe I can, maybe I'll get to actually see people take joy from my crochet, because with it being in the gift shop and me working elsewhere in the park, I didn't really get to see too often people actually get a smile on their face from my crochet. I got to hear about it a lot, but I never actually got to see it a lot, and that is something that brings me a lot of joy, is when I see something that I made bring a smile to somebody's face, whether that's a child or an adult. It doesn't matter to me. It gives me a sense of fulfillment when I see that something I made brought joy to somebody else. And I don't know if that sounds weird or not. It's what it is. But yeah, we're going to try to do the farmer's market thing, and I don't have a lot of money saved up. Some of y'all may have seen, I know some of y'all seen a group post that I made on Facebook where I was like panhandling to try to rescue this baby bird. In regards to that baby bird, unfortunately, I am not going to be able to afford him because I'm not employed anymore, and I don't know how steady an income the farmer's market is going to be. All I can do is try, and we will see how it goes. My friend and I, we're going to give it a go and see how it goes. But unfortunately, I will not be able to get that baby bird. For those of you that were wondering, that baby bird was 9 months old. He was a red-crowned parrot who had been purchased by a guy that was a lineman. And he had paid $2,000 for that bird. And then afterwards, he realized that he didn't have the time to train the bird or be around it because he works so much out of town. Most linemen do. They work, you know, out of town, out of state, things like that. I have a brother who's a lineman. Well, technically he's a brother-in-law, but whatever. Anyways, so he was trying to rehome this poor little bird, and he was asking 1K or best offer. Now, red crown Amazons are not, they're not starter birds. They're an endangered species for one. That's why they're typically so expensive. I mean, the fact that he was able to find one for 2K, is astounding to me, because they are an endangered species and they usually go for about 5 to 8K. So he paid 2, and I was going to try to save up, and I was going to try to take donations and things like that to get that 1K as quickly as possible, just simply because I think that he got that bird and didn't realize how much attention and training that Amazons need, or birds in general need. They're a high maintenance pet, and I was very afraid that that baby bird would also would end up in another home with a first time bird owner who didn't have a lot of experience, and that's why I was trying to get that bird in particular. Even if it was a temporary situation, I was still trying to get that bird to make sure that it did not get passed from, you know, owners that, from new bird owner to new bird owner to new bird owner, where nobody had experience with him. What happens when that happens? What happens to a bird when those things occur is you end up with eventually a full-grown bird that has been unintentionally abused. It's been traumatized repeatedly. Because just moving a bird from different owner to different owner can be very traumatizing. And when you have multiple owners that didn't know how to handle that particular species, or were inexperienced bird owners, you get people doing things that they're not supposed to do, and it causes the bird to be basically accidentally abused, and they end up in shelters towards the end of their lives after being through, you know, 10, 15 owners, and they're not happy birds. They're aggressive, you know, they have to go through rehabilitation, things like that. And that's basically the story on that particular post. And I know that some of you are familiar with the post that I made because it was a group chat. And then this is probably the first time others of you are hearing about it. But I wanted to share that story about that little bird because I actually had been asked to know a little bit more about him. But if the guy still has him, I'm not going to be able to get him. Just making the commitment to do the farmer's market every weekend. I have already dropped $135 on tablecloths and proper display equipment, because while I have always wanted to do farmers markets regularly, I haven't been able to because of the driving situation. And so I have already invested $135 into proper display racks, you know, cash box, everything that you would need to do a proper craft market and display your items properly, price them out properly in a nice, neat, organized, yet simple fashion, if that makes sense. So I did invest already a pretty substantial, at least for me, a substantial amount of money into doing these farmers markets. You know, that is, y'all will definitely be seeing some videos on that. We have the first one planned for this weekend. I don't know who's blowing my phone up right now. I have no idea. Anyways, so yeah, I will probably have to make a video of the area where we go, because it's going to be at my local farmers market this weekend. Out on the square, on the town square is where it's at every weekend. And then I also plan to do something called the Festival of Lights in the next town over. They do booths, they do vendor booths as well, and Megan, my sister-in-law, and her mom were going to try and help me get a booth out there. Specifically, they were going to try to get me a booth right next to them so that we could all kind of do like a family thing where I'd have my crochet and they would have their jewelry. But that won't be till like December. So we're going to try to, make a thing of this and, find other ways, now, I do have 2 Etsy orders as well that I'm working on, because all of a sudden, out of the blue, I'm getting Etsy orders. In fact, the same day that I quit my job, I got an Etsy order, and that was crazy. But it totally made me feel like it's okay. I don't have to have that job. Anyways, for those few of you that do know in-depth details on what happened with my quitting my job, I do ask that you guys keep those details to yourselves. I don't want to put anybody's names out there. It was a bad situation, and I don't want anybody's names to be out there, and I certainly don't want, people drug through the mud on my channel or anything like that. And there is a handful of people out there that know about that situation, that follow me because they also worked out at Scream Hollow. And then there's a handful of people outside of Scream Hollow that know about that situation. And I just ask that if you do know details about that situation, please keep the details and the people involved to yourself. I just don't want people's names dragged through the mud, and I certainly don't want their names dragged through the mud. On my channel. I'm sorry about that, guys. Anyways, yeah. So as you can tell, just talking about that situation stresses me out enough to just have, just talking about it makes the just talking about it stresses me enough to cause me to have seizures. So yeah, I'm not going to mention that situation any further on the channel, but for those of you that know, that don't know, I'm no longer working at Scream Hollow, and on the 31st, y'all will have a video there's a video scheduled for the 31st, and I talk about being at work. I'm not at work on Halloween, just so you guys know. And there was a whole thought process that was going on, and it's gone now. But just so you know that when the video for Halloween comes out, and I talk about being at work, I'm not at work anymore. I'm gonna turn my attentions towards the channel, my Etsy, and doing these farmers markets with a friend of mine. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm going to go take some medication, and then I'm going to make Benjamin come sit with me downstairs while I try to cook dinner, because I don't need to be standing over the stove right now if there's not somebody going to be there with me. Because yeah, now I'm having petty malls. I'm sorry that you guys have to watch that sometimes on my channel. But I do appreciate your support, and if you made it this far into the video and listened to all my babbling, I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out. And I will see you guys in my next one. I'm not sure what I have scheduled as far as videos, but I do have a video coming up somewhere during the week. I don't know. But anyways, guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.